great love and respect for one another. It's no surprise that they wanted an outdoor wedding. And God and nature delivered today on absolutely perfect weather. My name's Craig Isco. I'm a judge in Washington, D.C., and I am delighted to officiate at their wedding. I remember I've known Jenny's father, Kevin, for more than 40 years, since we were both freshmen at the University of Texas. We were 9 years old. And I've known Jenny her entire life. Kevin and I have been best friends for more than 40 years. We were roommates throughout the last 3 years of college. And it is truly a pleasure to be here today. I remember Kevin, after he finished medical school, he was doing his residency in Arizona. And one day he told me about this girl, Barbara, he'd met, and how wonderful she was. And until my wonderful wife, Rosemary, and I met her, we couldn't believe that Kevin wasn't just exaggerating a little bit, but he wasn't. Barbara is truly fantastic, and my wife, Rosemary, and Barbara have become really close friends. We've known Jenny her entire life. But almost 30 years ago, almost exactly 30 years ago, I was the best man at Kevin and Barbara's wedding. So I can't tell you how emotional and how meaningful it is for me to be here now, 30 years later, officiating at their daughter's wedding. And it really gets me choked up just to be here. On a lighter note, and in recognition of the athletic preoccupation of many of the guests here, I should mention that shortly before the wedding, I injured myself running by stepping in a huge pothole. And as a result, I was in a large pinkish colored fiberglass cast up to my knee. And I remember telling Kevin and Barbara, this might be a problem, I'm supposed to wear a black tuxedo. And they said, well, figure out something. So I wore an enormous black sock over my pink cast to make it blend in with my black tuxedo. It looked all right, except my leg in the pictures looks, fatter than an elephant's. But no injuries today. For more than, and that's why I was very careful this morning during the event. For more than 30 years, Rosemary and I have enjoyed our close relationship with Kevin and Barbara. We got to know Jenny particularly well when she came to Washington, D.C. to attend Georgetown University, where we live. And we had her over for dinner quite a bit. We were amazed at how she shifted from swimming to running to triathlons. We were amazed at how quickly she adapted to life in Washington. At first she didn't know the city, and then 3 months later she's writing stories about running trails in Washington. And she's just a fantastic person. And we remember when she shared that very special moment in every young woman's life, which of course is when she got her first triathlon bike. And later, she met Joe. We of course heard a lot about him from Jenny, and although he sounded good, I have to admit, I for one was pretty skeptical. I mean, how could he be good enough for our Jenny? He couldn't. But when we met him, we had him over for dinner with Jenny, and we really liked him. And I got a nice beer, and he declined the beer bottle. He actually wanted a beer bottle, but I forced him to have it in a fancy crystal stein that we had. And as soon as he left, we lifted his prints off that stein, and he checked out. I was somewhat less concerned, but then I found out that somebody I swam with, AJ, who's here today, knew Joe quite well. So I asked her about Joe. She said, oh, he's great. So, okay, good. But I better, that was too quick, too enthusiastic. Maybe it's rehearsed. So I'd wait till she was coming up, you know, after a sprint or something, and she'd come up gasping her breath. So what's Joe really like? And she continued to say good things about him. And we, in all seriousness, we know how great Joe is. One other thing I should say about Jenny and Joe, besides their love of the outdoors and athletics and friendship and intellectual pursuits, just about everything, is they're both devoted to their families, and they both have wonderful family role models. I mean, I've just met Bob and Nancy yesterday, but it was no surprise how wonderful Joe's parents are. And I, of course, have told you how wonderful Jenny's parents are. I have no doubt that this wonderful couple, with the inspiration of their parents and the support of their friends, will be able to face all of life's challenges, as well as experience all of the many great joys in life. And so it's, again, my great pleasure to officiate at their wedding. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story of Joe and Jenny and how their relationship began. It was a very hot day in August of 2009. Joe and Jenny had their first run-in with each other. During the run leg of the Northeast Triathlon, Jenny passed Joe. A girl passing a boy in a triathlon. Joe, and I'm ad-libbing here because they didn't write humiliated, but I'm adding the word. Joe felt humiliated and tried to pass her back because he didn't want to lose to such an unintimidating competitor. Jenny won the race, but as you know, in triathlon, she had her number written on her leg. He knew what her number was, he knew how old she was, and her victory turned out to be the catalyst for the events that brought these two together over the next several months. And I think Jenny wrote this next part, but almost 5 years later, Joe still has never beaten Jenny. There is some fine print, I suspect, added by Joe. He did beat her the time the swim was canceled at the Myrtle Beach Triathlon.
Not a triathlon.
As Jenny said, that was a triathlon. And along with everyone else who acknowledges that the swimming leg is the mandatory part of a triathlon, does not believe that this counts as a triathlon victory. Now, while they pretend to be fiercely competitive, the truth of the matter is Jenny and Joe have found in each other absolutely perfect teammates for life. They have trained together for countless races, through sweaty summers and snowy winters. They have supported each other through challenges and life changes, major and minor, and celebrated each other's wins, both big and small. Today, they will exchange their vows, and each will promise to share in each other's joys and victories, and to cheer on each other as they tackle all of life's hills, bumps, and obstacles. And we know that they will be successful. With that, I'd like to ask Sarah Swaggart to share the first reading. It's a poem comparing love to one of Jenny and Joe's favorite things, a long bicycle ride. Sarah, who actually met Joe before Jenny did on a 200-mile bike ride, no less, is a close friend of the couple and one-time temporary resident of their basement gym. Sarah.
Two all-weather wheels stand before us today, still independent, now committed to head the same way. We won't question who steers or who's in charge of the gears, because you each pedal harder when the other is near. There's a long way to go through sun, rain, and snow, and where you are going, you won't always know. With love and padded shorts for the backside, you're now well prepared for this lifelong bike ride. Flat tires and punctures there'll certainly be. Who should do the dishes, you might disagree. Some days you'll be tired and accidentally mean. With your apology, bring mint chocolate ice cream. Partners in life, when you race the show, I think you both look your best with that post-exercise glow. Inclines you'll conquer through combined strength of will. A lifetime of happiness and adventure is yours to fill. You have the determination, the strength and the heart you'll need for this incredible journey you're about to start.
Thank you, Sarah. I'd now like to ask Kelly. Ask Kelly, Jenny's sister and the maid of honor, to come forward and read an Irish blessing. Jenny and Joe share an Irish Catholic heritage and wish very much that their grandparents could be here on this special day. But we know they're here in spirit, as Kelly reads these words.
May love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home. May good and faithful friends be yours wherever you may roam. May peace and plenty bless your world with joy that long endures. May the light of friendship guide your paths together. May the laughter of children grace the halls of your home. May the joy of living for one another bring a smile to your lips, a twinkle to your eye. May all life's passing seasons bring the best to you and yours.
Thank you. Now, people have been united in marriage in all lands and all cultures for thousands of years. In all marriages, two individuals leave the families that raised them to begin a new family. At this time, I asked Jenny and Joe's parents, Bob and Nancy, and Joe's parents, Bob and Nancy, of course, and Jenny's parents, Kevin and Barbara, to please stand and bless this marriage. I'm going to ask you a question after you stand. Do you, Barbara and Kevin, and Nancy and Bob, who have lovingly raised and nurtured these two individuals, offer your blessing for their marriage, promising to support them, understand them, encourage them in their endeavors in the years ahead? If you agree, please say, "We do." We do. Thank you. You may be seated. And to the rest of you here today, I ask the same question. Do you offer your blessing for their marriage, promising to support them, understand them, and encourage them in this endeavor in all the years ahead? If you agree, please say, "We do."
We do.
Jenny and Joe, your families have blessed this union. It is now time to exchange your vows. Now, who would give the vows first was a richly debated topic. And finally, they decided to settle it, as you could guess, with a race. The results of Jenny and Joe's sprint to the finish at this morning's wedding day race determine the order in which they will be reading their vows. Jenny's finishing kick was not quite strong enough to hold off Joe. Although Joe did hold back just a second at the end where you thought that Jenny might win. So Jenny will be the first to share the words that she wrote. In just a moment, I will hand her the vows.
Joe, on our second date, we picked out a Christmas tree for my tiny studio apartment. I felt nervous that it was too serious an endeavor for a second date, or that you might think I was just using it for your trunk space. Riding up the elevator with that tree, I knew I hadn't made a mistake. The rest of that snowpocalypse-filled winter, we spent way too much time together, and I realized that we were a perfect team. You were my favorite training partner. You let me draft off you forever. You share your ice cream sandwiches at rest stops, and you always know which way to turn. You are my personal chef, my bicycle mechanic, and my home renovation guru. Most importantly, you are my best friend. I never want to lose you, so today I promise that you are stuck with me forever. I vow to love you as you deserve to be loved, with admiration, trust, affection, and respect. I vow to listen to your ideas and your worries, to enjoy the quiet moments, and to laugh with you the rest of the time. I vow to take care of you when you throw out your back making the bed, or when you have a sore throat, or just when you had a bad day. I vow to create a household and raise our children and corgis together as partners and as equals, and to always take turns pushing the jogging stroller up the hill. I vow to remain your teammate for life, cheering you on when you hit a wall, coasting with you through the fun parts and enjoying all of the adventures we are sure to share before we hit the finish line. Joe, I love you, even more than I love mint chocolate chip ice cream, Christmas trees, long runs in the springtime, and I can't wait to share the rest of my life with you.
Thank you, Jenny. Joe will now read his vows.
Jenny, before our first date, I knew I really liked you. I had a fun plan to check out this new hip area in DC. I think it was called 8th Street. This is of course not what we ended up doing. Our plans quickly became foiled, which became a funny theme in our dating life. But it never mattered to either of us, since it really was not about what we were planning to do, but about who we were doing it with. Over the next few months, we got to sled down Capitol Hill during the snowpocalypse. We ran past the daffodils in Rock Creek Park while you trained for Boston, and somehow you even managed to survive my decision to purchase a fixer-upper. My parents made the trip to DC soon after I got the house and bought with them some useful tools and a Tupperware case for transporting cupcakes. I had purposely left it in New York, and it was a gift from my parents' neighbor, who also gave me the advice that the perfect girl was one who would bake for me. You came to meet my parents that day, taking with you a bunch of cupcakes on the metro. When you arrived, you apologized that some had been squished, and you had wished you had something better to transport them in. It did not take an obvious sign for me to realize how special you are, but it was still pretty funny to get one. You are my favorite trading partner. You don't let words like massacre deter you from going on a bike ride. You drag me out of bed in freezing rain for a run. And I'm definitely faster at running than I ever was before I met you, even though it's still not fast enough to beat you in a race. You are my driver hen, my sous chef, and also a friend thief, which Amber can attest to. Most importantly, you are my best friend. I never want to lose you, so today I promise you are stuck with me forever. I vow to love you as you deserve to be loved, with admiration, trust, and respect. I vow to listen to you talk about 3-year-olds and centers, to enjoy the bike rides and the ice cream, and to laugh at you as we determine our running routes based upon our chances to maximize seeing corgis. I vow to take care of you when you have problems with Sonny, or your kids, or their parents, or even our kids, or just when you've had a bad day. I vow to create a household and raise our children together as partners and equals, which really means that you'll be running sorry. Which means that you will now be running and pushing a jogging stroller, so maybe we will be equals. I vow to remain your teammate for life, coasting through the fun parts, cheering you on when you hit a wall, and enjoying all the adventures we are to share before we hit the finish line. Jenny, I love you, even more than I love ice cream, snow days, and cordless power tools. And I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you.
Beautiful. Those vows were truly, truly beautiful. And now we're moving to the next and even less formal part of the wedding. Jenny and Joe borrowed this idea from their good friends Bill and Katie. They love the thought of having a special reminder of this happiest day to open on their 5th wedding anniversary. The box is filled with notes and predictions of the future from family and friends, copies of the vows they just shared, and a bottle of wine to share in celebration of the first undoubtedly wonderful years as husband and wife. Since Joe is notorious for trying to give and receive presents early, he proposed as soon as possible after getting the diamond on a Thursday evening while Jenny was trying to head to the fridge to scoop her evening ice cream. The couple will be sealing this box in a most secure fashion using one of Joe's favorite tools, the traditional cordless nail gun. They're not going to step over. Feel free to stand if you want to see this nail gun.
Good thing she checked.
We're really putting these in.
She likes it. Oh my God. So scary. I know. See how much faster that was, Bill?
Ready to do one over here?
Never have too many We're now going to have the exchange of rings. So, Joe, if you can extract the ring from this tiny little bag.
Hold on.
So, Joe, please repeat after me. Jenny, I give you this ring.
Jenny, I give you this ring
As a sign that I chose you.
as a sign that I chose you
To be my partner and my best friend.
to be my partner and my best friend
Today, tomorrow, and always.
today, tomorrow, and always.
And now. Okay, Jenny, please repeat after me. Joe, I give you this ring
Joe, I give you this ring
as a sign that I chose you
as a sign that I chose you
to be my partner and my best friend.
to be my partner and my best friend
Today, tomorrow, and always.
today, tomorrow, and always.
Jenny and Joe, in the presence of your family and friends, you have declared your commitment to one another. You have formed your own union based on love, affection, trust, and respect. Therefore, it is my joyful responsibility to declare you husband and wife. Joe, you may kiss the bride. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to present to you for the very first time Joe and Jenny Coyne. Please help us celebrate with, as you have, with the streamers. As the wedding party leaves, I have to ask you to remain for just a minute.
They must run together, right?
I think, yeah, because some of it was the same. I wonder if they knew.
I mean, that was really bad.
Yeah.
If they didn't, that's just
Yeah.
amazing.
So in sync.
It's just mind melt right there. Hopefully that.
Yeah.
I think I might have shaken.